Hey everyone, it's Jamie from Independent Street Tarot and Seasons and Ritual, and we're here to talk about the Lionsgate, which peaks tomorrow on 8/8, and actually 8. We're in the year of 2024, and that equals 8. So I think it's an extra potent Lionsgate. And I think it's very apropos since Pluto is in Aquarius and it's about to dip back into Capricorn for the last time and then come back into Aquarius also with we have that first Saturn square, Saturn and Jupiter square, and they were conjunct in 2020, which set off this whole new cycle of Saturn and Jupiter being conjunct in fire and air signs. And so this 8/8 Lionsgate, I think, is really opening this portal for this new time that we're in. It's really important to remember, guys, like, and I can't express this enough. The world, and I don't mean this to like scare you or like it's passed you by or it's outpaced you, but it's just really something we need to start thinking about, that the world is really a different place than we were led to believe, right? And I mean that in the sense that there's actually, or let's just say the world's in a different place now. Okay, let's just kind of keep it in the present. There's actually more love and more compassion and more joy on this planet than there has been, and and now we have the permission to start tapping into that. And so the Lionsgate portal opened on July 26th, and it's till August 12th, and on 8/8 is when it peaks. And the Lionsgate represents when the sun, Earth, Sirius, the star Sirius, which is our spiritual sun, and Orion's belt all align. And the three stars of Orion's belt align with the three pyramids in Giza. And that signaled to the Egyptians that it was the first harvest and that the Nile would flood. And so in the wheel of the year, we celebrate Lammas and Lunasa, which is also the first harvest. So and it's the halfway point between the summer solstice and the fall equinox. So hope you guys had all your pencils ready. So that was a little that was for you. And so, but it is this idea of being in summer and seeing what's expressed and understanding that it's soon it's time to harvest. Things will be changing. So take these days to sit and meditate if you can, or journal and be with yourself and really tap into this energy of the sun, this energy of Sirius, which is our spiritual sun. I always say this is a time of realignment. We just had the dark moon of Leo, so now we're going to start moving towards the full moon in Aquarius, which is Leo's opposite sign. So there's still going to be a lot of movement. We know Mercury went retrograde in Virgo, and Mercury going retrograde in Virgo should be showing you what needs to change pretty clearly. Virgo's Virgo's a practical sign. It's pretty no nonsense. So the changes that you need to make in your life, and or whatever, or people around you, whatever it is, it should be shown. It's not going to be like, God, I wonder what it is. It's going to be like, oh no, I totally get it. And it could be something big, it could be something small, it doesn't matter, but it's going to be showing you what we need to change before Mercury totally retrogrades back into Leo. And so this Mercury retrograde, I think it's going to be, most Mercury retrogrades are supposed to be helpful. Whether they present that way is another story, but I do believe this Mercury retrograde is going to be extremely helpful. We're going to go over things that honestly just are not working, and then go back into Leo and find that strength in order to change and make things work and find that confidence to be okay to go onto this new path. So this is a great this is a really important season right now, being in Leo season, being in the Lionsgate portal, this Mercury retrograde, which will last until August 27th. This Jupiter Saturn square, the first one we had, seeing, you know, what needs to go and what needs to stay. I mentioned in the other video, you know, Venus was in a quincunx to Neptune and Saturn or Neptune and Pluto, excuse me. And it was like, we just have to rethink um, how we feel about love, money, and our dreams. And the idea is that, oh, actually, we can achieve them, right? Because the idea is like we have to start getting into what do I really believe love is? What do I really believe? What are my dreams? You know, how much money do I need to make? What are my, you know, thoughts and ideas around money? And all those are changing, right? And it's okay to you know, look at your bank account and no matter what's in there, just be grateful. Be like, oh shit, yeah, my bills are paid. I feel good. Just gonna go have some coffee, you know, or look at it and say, you know, I want a little more. It's okay. You know, it's okay. This idea like it has to be a certain way or present a certain way, or at this time in your life, you should have been doing this. All of that is changing. And all that energy is leaving the planet. You know, this age of Aquarius is about the individual first and then the collective. And I see that almost, you know, almost every day when I'm just like looking at, I don't look at the news that much, but some of the news and just talking to people and where they are in their lives. And I could feel the synergy. It's a really good place to be. Um, so what we're going to do is pull a Celtic cross, and then I'm going to pull a couple other cards. So you might want to get some snacks. This might be a little bit a longer video. I feel like there was something else I was going to say about the astrology. Oh, there it is. Uranus is still in Taurus. Uranus rules Aquarius. Right now, Uranus is at 26 degrees of Taurus, which is a new degree point, and it will move into 27 degrees of Taurus. So you know, Taurus is ruled by Venus. Venus is love. Venus is money. Venus is how we respect ourselves and our time and what we feel like we're worth. So again, all this is changing, you know, and the way that we express that is going to be differently. We're going to be, you know, asking different questions. We're going to, you know, when Pluto, let me just say this, when Pluto moves back into Capricorn, you know, the mainstream astrology is like, are we moving backwards? You know, are we going to be going backwards? And I don't see it that way. I see Pluto moving back into Capricorn to show us, to fix the things that weren't working, right? Like, it's not to dip back into something to try it out one more time. It is to bring this new knowledge back into Capricorn, because Capricorn likes to work, you know, like Capricorn's like, I like to work, you know, as long as it's working, it's pretty happy. So we're going to give it new things to work on. It's not about, and I get it's really easy to say, like, because, you know, all the fascism and things like that are showing up in the world, right? Oh no, are we going back to those ways? And the answer is no. And when we get back into gets back into Capricorn, it's really going to shut that down. And so because it's going to bring in these new ways of working. It's not going to go over the old bullshit. Does that make sense, you guys? So oh look who's here, the Empress, right? The Empress is Taurus, right? So here she is. This is all about divine timing. So we are in this time of divine timing. Uranus being in there at this time is divine timing. And then if I cut the deck, Page Pentacles, Pentacles is money. Pentacles again is Earth, right? These Earth, we just can't quit these Earth signs, right? Earth signs, Capricorn, right? But the Page of Pentacles is that young, unjaded energy. It is the manifester. So, you know, Pluto going back into Capricorn, we're going to start manifesting different ways. We're going to manifest differently. We're going to see work differently. We're going to see our work pay off, you know? So don't try to stress out too much about that. I know I'm reading that differently than most astrologers, but that's just really how I feel about it. Okay, frenzies, let's pull this cross. All right. I always debate whether I should do it live or before. Interesting. And I just said to do it live. So if you guys want to fast forward through this, go right ahead. All right. So far, so good with this Lionsgate energy. Always, always so far, so good. Okay. All right, guys. Okay. Move this right, y'all. Maybe I'll get a different setup so we can, interesting. Okay, we can, you guys can see the cards as they're being pulled. Interesting. Okay, I've got two more and then we'll dive into this. Thank you for your patience. Okay. Wow. Well, the spread did not disappoint, friends. Okay. And on the bottom is the Queen of Wands. Okay. So in the present, we have the Queen of Swords, which I think is right on time. The Queen of Swords is talking about not taking any more bullshit. She's cutting out all the drama, and I really feel like we're in this time where we are cutting out drama. Like we're tired of being gaslit. We're tired of all the bullshit. We're tired of people pushing their own agendas, right? So this is the present, and this is the Queen of Swords. As you can see, the Queen of Swords, swords is air, so that very well could be Aquarius, you know, all our sweet air signs, but Libra, Gemini. I'll get you guys in there. But it is, air signs always represent mental energy. And so she sits on this throne, and she's solid in that. You guys can see she's solid on her throne. And she's telling them to bring it on because she's going to cut it out. You see that giant sword. She's got her hand raised because female signs are always about receiving. And so she's like, yeah, bring it on. I'm not scared of what you're going to tell me. I'm not scared of what you're going to show me. And if it's bullshit, I'm going to cut it out of here, right? Those clouds are brewing in the background, or are they leaving? It's up to you to decide, right? And you can see the wind, the trees are blowing, right? So our sweet, sweet Queen of Swords. And the reason she's so solid and where she sits, because she knows her heart, right? She believes in her heart. Because that's where she knows all the real power lies, right? So if you guys are too stuck in your brain, again, Mercury just went retrograde in Virgo. So if you're spinning in your brain and you don't know where to start, again, you know, call someone that has more experience than you, right? Reach out to someone who may be more mature, right, in that place, but that has more experience, because they're going to help you cut through the bullshit. They're going to help you see which track to get on quickly. All right. So here's our sweet Queen of Swords. And then the challenge moving forward is the Knight of Cups, which I also think is perfect. So our Knight of Cups, now I read the Knight of Cups differently than most people read the Knight of Cups. I read all knights as being loyal. So the Knight of Cups is loyal. A lot of people read the Knight of Cups as being kind of a ladies' man, if you will, you know, but I don't see knights like that. I see them as being loyal with a good head on their shoulders, and they know their sense of duty and they know their job. So that's how I read this Knight of Cups. This Knight of Cups understands what it means to be loyal. This Knight of Cups understands what it means to lead with the heart. A lot of heart energy. Again, Leo rules the heart. My Emperor just fell. Hold on. We'll get to you, Emperor. Hold on, man. Okay, hold on. Someone's really wanting to be seen. Okay, hold your horses, Emperor. So back to this night. So the challenge is seeing if we can stay loyal within our hearts, seeing that if we can get out of our minds, right, and back into our hearts and see the reward in that. Understanding that the poets, the artists, the dreamers, like they're okay, right? They're not lost. Bringing that energy back onto earth to be loyal with it to create something new, right? So that is the challenge. All right, to the left, we have the Knight of Swords, right? So this is kind of the past. The past is thinking quick, moving quickly, always being on task, no time to slow down, being loyal to this idea of go, 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 right? Here we have another knight. And again, the Knight of the Knight of Swords, who's really one of my favorite knights. He knows what to do in the heat of battle. So it's this idea that we're leaving behind the heat of, like, constantly being in the heat of battle, constantly in our minds, constantly moving, constantly thinking about things, right? Just ruminating or spinning. So this is what we're leaving behind. And then what we're moving towards is the Two of Wands. And again, the Two of Wands is just taking a minute, being okay, taking a breath, being okay, um, looking at the world, right? Because the message coming in at the beginning of the video was the world is different. The world isn't how they keep trying to make us believe that it is. The world is actually a more kinder, gentler place. And these old storylines of these old superpowers are really outdated. Um, and so we need to see where the state of the world actually is today, instead of what garbage people have been feeding us in order to keep us scared and unbalanced and to line their own pockets. But that might have been just me speaking and not spirit on that last one. But the thing is that we need to take this time out and we need to see where the world is. We need to see where we feel our place is in the world moving forward. So it's kind of realigning, like we said, with this Lionsgate, reassessing and being okay with that. A lot of us are wanting to make plans to move forward, and we are, but we're still trying to figure it out, right? And when before we always thought, okay, we just have to have the entire effing roadmap and we got to go. And this is saying we're going to keep moving forward in different ways. So like, even if you're just still getting information and reassessing, that is still movement. That is still moving forward, if you're making plans to move and you got to put the castle on up for sale, you got to figure that stuff out. Okay. It's like, it's telling you take it, we're in this time of realignment and reassessment. So honor that. We aren't in this time of constantly thinking. That is the past. Okay, so as above, so below. So above is the Hierophant, and we've been working with the Hierophant for a while. And the Hierophant speaks of, it speaks of two things for me. First and foremost, it speaks of working with spirit. So always know that there's something, or the idea of that something is higher than us. If you don't believe in that, that's fine too. But just this idea that there could be more in the universe than us. And then the second thing is the Hierophant always has those keys. So to me, it is that we need to see there are no gatekeepers. And this is what's above. So this is what's being expressed right now. We really need to understand there are no gatekeepers. We can work with spirit or science or whatever it is that you prefer, to help move things through. And if we can keep doing that, the below is the subconscious, and the subconscious is the Six of Pentacles. And this talks about coming back into balance, right? And it's important to remember you have to give and receive. And for a very long time, a lot of us have just been giving. A lot of us are really burned out on that, right? And so we're taking this time to reassess. And then, because deep down inside, we know that we can give and we can receive, right? And it's not, it's going against, but it's like, how can I say this? Well, I'll just say it. So a lot of times, like organized religion, it was all about, you know, counting your blessings in a sense, or always giving, like giving to the church. no matter what you had to like, tithe so much to keep things going. But maybe you never felt like you were receiving anything. I mean, seriously, like maybe all your time was spent with others. You had no time to rest. You were always giving, and you were kind of like, well, fuck, I'm broke and tired and I have no time for myself. My nerves are shot, right? And so that is that old way of gatekeeping, right? It was like, if you keep doing this, you're going to get your just desserts in heaven, right? And everyone's like, I want them now, because you can have them now, right? So it's going against this old way and knowing, well, there are no gatekeepers. I don't have to do all this stuff that this old man is telling me to do in order to feel happy, or feel fulfilled, or feel joy. And so once we get over this idea of that, we know that there can be balance. We know that we can be charitable in the way that we need to be charitable. We know that when we can give, that's when we give. And then at the same time, that's when we receive. But sometimes we need to ask for help, or we need to take a day off. There is no more of just hauling ass at all times. Our subconscious is letting us know, once we get over that idea, gatekeeping, we'll become more into balance. And we have to remember the lunar south node is in Libra, right? And Libra is the scales, and the south node is what we're leaving behind. And so we are leaving behind this idea of people pleasing, right? We are leaving behind this idea of putting ourselves second, right? And that also pairs with this age of Aquarius. Okay, so this is really interesting. Going up the river, right? All right, so here we have at the bottom the Emperor. And the Emperor, this is so interesting. The Emperor is the divine masculine, right? And he is ruled by Aries in Mars. That's why you can see the ram's heads, right? And the Emperor holds the world in his hand, and then the Ankh, because he understands life eternal. And the Emperor, he's the number 4 card. He is the divine masculine because he listens to his intuition. And there was a time when this Emperor card was just all about divide and conquer, right? But because now that Mars and Aries are being held accountable, and they are divine signs to me instead of just what's the word I'm thinking of? Maleficent signs. I see them as divine. I see them now. They understand how to be held accountable. He is in this idea of the spiritual warrior. He is mature. Maybe he can see the quote unquote mistakes of his ways. And so the way in the past, and so now the way that he rules is with more compassion, right? And that is how he moves the kingdom forward. But he is the emperor, so he has more knowledge, if you will, than, let's say, the King of Cups or any of the kings in the lower suits. And so when this card always comes back to the challenge. This is the part that I think is really interesting. So the challenge is, if we can be loyal to this idea of love and compassion, then the emperor will rise in all of us to move us forward in love and compassion. If we do not meet this challenge, then it's like, I just want to see, like, the old emperor will rule, because that energy really isn't on the planet anymore, even though every day the news will scare you to let you think that. And so we have to get over this idea. We have to start bringing in this idea of divine masculines being on the planet. We have to understand this idea of the divine masculine within us, right? It's moving us forward, and we can move forward. Telling yourself you love yourself every day is going to help you move forward. One of the greatest things about talking to my friends on the phone is that when we end our phone conversations, we always tell each other we love each other. I mean, that is so great. You know, I'm always like, okay, I love you. And they're like, we love you too. And then talk to you later. Like that is the best way to end a conversation with just about anyone, but especially with your friends, you know? And so that is what's got to keep us moving forward because on top of him, oh my gosh, this is a big spread for this Lionsgate, is the King of Cups. And the King of Cups also rules his kingdom with empathy and compassion. And he's very understanding, but the King of Cups understands boundaries. Okay, that's why he's floating on that concrete slab, right? Those are his boundaries. And you know, you see he's wearing that golden cape, and that he's confident in that. He's confident in that he cannot stop moving the, you know, the kingdom along just to help one person figure out all their shit. You know, that's not what he's there for. And this is a really hard lesson for us to learn as empaths. You know, we have to start taking care of ourselves. And you can see he's got his little green booties, and green is the color of the heart chakra, right? So the King of Cups is here in saying we've got to give, you know, we got to keep moving this kingdom along. A lot of us, you know, put things aside to help people for years. And it's okay to start believing in ourselves and putting ourselves first, because after the King of Cups comes the Hanged Man. This is bringing in that enlightened perspective. When you feel good, the world feels good. Okay, let's just keep it simple with that. Instead of this idea, this old idea of give, give, give. If you keep giving all of yourself, you have nothing left. Oh Lord, kingdom of heaven is going to be so good for you. And it's like, well, we want it here now, right? We want to be balanced in ourselves now. We need this enlightenment now, not when we die. Again, right? Because the idea of, you know, death is sort of the illusion, right? The emperor knows there's life eternal. So it's okay to be in balance now, to put yourself first now, to be enlightened now. Okay, we don't have to wait for that. And then the outcome, you guys are going to scream because I know I did internally. It's the Lovers, which is so beautiful, the number 6 card. And the Lovers is when you are balanced within yourself, you're your own best lover, right? There's the masculine side of us and that feminine side. The feminine side has all this knowledge. The masculine side understands how to, in theory, use the knowledge to move ourselves forward. But it's this idea of being your own best self. It is this idea of being balanced in yourself. And when you are balanced in yourself, if you are in fact looking for a partner, then you can bring in your lover, right? But it has to start with you first. And this Lionsgate to me is all about this realignment with ourselves, all about moving ourselves forward as our best version of ourselves, not worrying about this, you know, just taking time out to reassess. Really, what do I think about myself? What do I think about the world? What do I think about my kingdom? What do I think about my castle? Is my castle beautiful? Is it helping me? Is it keeping me safe, or is it keeping me trapped? Getting out of constant worry, constant thinking all the time. Understanding, cutting out all the BS and cutting out all the drama. We're strong enough now to do that. We have, our eyeballs are open, right? We can see clearly. That's that Saturn and Pisces getting rid of all that illusion. So this is a really beautiful spread, you guys, for this Lionsgate. We want to be, our divine masculine and feminines want to be, or feminine need to be working together at all times. One of the greatest lies, you know, in separations that the patriarchy did was separating that within us, you know, saying you're either masculine or feminine, you're either this or you're that. And we're both, like we're both. That's just nature, right? We're both. And so the more that we become enlightened and the more that we wake up to that, the harder it is to be fooled, quite honestly, by the other powers that be. Okay, and then I'm just going to say this, which is a good way to end this up, which is perfect for the Lionsgate as well, is on the bottom is our sweet, sweet Queen of Wands. All right, and our Queen of Wands always has her little black cat by her because that is her shadow side, and she does not care who sees it. She is very confident in who she is. She doesn't give a shit if she was drunk and dancing on the bar. She hopes you enjoyed it. Okay, that is that Queen of Wands. She always holds the sunflower because it is the homage to the King of Wands because she too is very balanced with her masculine side and moving forward. You can see the lions on either side of her throne and behind her, right? Because Wands is fire. And we are in this beautiful Leo season, which is fixed fire. And she wears all that gold because she is in touch with her solar plexus, right? She knows who she is. She likes to express herself. She always sees the big picture. She's always the life of the party. She likes people to feel good about themselves and to feel comfortable, right? And so this is a beautiful way, I think, as well to end this spread. So that feminine energy too is all about receiving. So receive all this, you know, these high vibes, receive this confidence, receive this new way of moving forward with your masculine and feminine sides intact because that is where we are. You know, this age of Aquarians to me, because I am an Aquarian, can be kind of androgynous in a sense. So really lean into that, right? Maybe that's an old-timey word. I don't even know if that's the right word to use anymore, but um, you just move forward and express the way you feel, right? That day, quite honestly, to stay in the present. So a good one, a good Celtic cross. And then I'm going to pull one card from the Wild Unknown Archetypes. Boop, boop, boop. So we'll pull one from here. And this one will go for the rest of the Lionsgate. So this card will tap into the energy until August 12th. So let's see what they would like for us to know. Stay in your heart. Oh, wow. Interesting. Oh, okay. All right. So in no Roman numerals. Okay. LIV. Okay, hold on, you guys. Okay. This is really interesting. Okay, so I'm just going to read what it says and then we'll speak about it. Okay. Okay, well, we'll read it first and then I'll speak about it. Okay, so this is the vow. The promise, the oath, the contract. When the vow is spoken, the air shifts, karmic ties are formed, and destiny tilts on its axis. Our words and intentions have immense power. There is a reason the great mythic stories of our past often include the recitation of oaths and the mixing of drops of blood as a mark of union. The tricky part is that reciting the vow, no matter how casually, activates the internal and unseen forces of the world. The ancestors bear witness. The laws of nature respond. These promises cannot be unsaid or forgotten, so breaking them can leave lingering complexities and loose ends. This card calls us to acknowledge the vow we are living by, consciously or unconsciously, and either recommit to it or create a ritual that signifies its closure. You've been underestimating the power of your promises. When light, it's bearing witness to the shift towards destiny, and when dark, it's an unconscious vows, unkept promises, and messy karma. Think of the last promise you made. Was it to yourself or another? Has it been upheld or broken? Anytime the energy of a vow is present, we are in the archetypal realm of ceremony and ritual. That means time stands still and anything is possible. And I want to talk about the second thing, anything is possible. So where we are now, especially coming out of the void of the dark moon, right? To me, this card is signaling that we are ending all these old vows and we are ending all these old karmic ties. Again, a new 800-year cycle we're starting. Pluto moving back into Capricorn one last time. It will not be back there for another 200 years. Right at this time. Yep. Okay. Okay. So we are breaking all those old vows, right? You can see the complete solar eclipse energy that we had this year on this card. You can see the dove of peace coming in here. And so it is this idea that, you know, we're leaving all those old vows behind. This would be a great time maybe to be conscious and take a new vow, and maybe that vow be to yourself, to love yourself unconditionally. I know I keep going back to that one, but it's a good one and it's for you. um so so work with this card, see it as, and look at all that yellow, right? And then there's all that darkness, and the darkness isn't the idea of going into the darkness to be sad. It is going into that void to recreate, um or not recreate, don't say recreate. It's going into the void to create something new. When they talk about outer space and dark matter, that's where things are created. We just know they come out of somewhere, and we just call it the black hole or darkness. So that is what this is saying. Recommit to yourself, recommit your masculine and feminine sides to yourself. That goes again with that card of the lovers that we just pulled. It is this idea that you can show up and be your best self, because this is who you're committing to. And if you commit to show up to being your best self, that's what you pull in. You pull in other people that are being their best selves. And then together we can all be our best selves. Okay? Does that make sense? And I'm going to go ahead and read the card on the bottom, because I think it goes with it too. So we'll read two cards from this. And this is the threshold. So let me find this one as well, and then we'll wrap it up. But the idea is, if you want to change things, you have to stay conscious. You have to stay conscious and see if you are recommitting to old vows by just being like, well, I'll just do it this way, or it's been that way. And this is the time to break those vows. What did it say? When light. Hold on, let me see. When light. What was it? Oh, when light bearing witness to the shift towards destiny. And I really think that's where we are right now. That goes back to the hanged man, right? This new enlightenment, bearing witness to the shift towards destiny, getting out of those things that were fated. All right, the threshold. Here we are, friends. And then we'll wrap this up. The door, the gate, the initiation. Here we go. We cross thresholds continuously, consciously and unconsciously. Doorways, gates, and entryways grace our path on a daily basis. When this card arises, it signifies that the precipice you stand upon is not your typical one. However, you have arrived at the threshold of initiation. Here to usher you into a new reality, it requires you to leave behind the quote-unquote you that you thought was so well-formed. A new frontier calls. This is not easy work. Threshold initiation means a part of you will be lost in order to make space for what is next. A metaphorical death must occur. Some may not recognize you. You may struggle to recognize yourself. The ground seems to crumble as you free fall into your new reality. This is the liminal realm. One step, dear friend. Just take that one necessary step toward the future that calls you. And I think this is so beautiful, because this is here for this 8-8 Lionsgate. We're in this 8 year, and that 8 is strength, right? So have the strength, you guys, to take that step. And this makes it seem very dramatic, but I can tell you, a lot of us that have been on this journey have already done like 99% of the work. So just take the step. It's here. You've got your tools. If things get a little bumpy, I really feel like you know what to do. If you don't, that's when you reach out to someone, a professional, to help you out with this, to keep moving. So when light, let's go. When light, growth, individuation, ease in the liminal. And I really believe a lot of you are right there. When dark, resisting, refusal to grow, barriers and boundaries. So see if that is where you are. And if you feel like that's where you are, just observe that. You don't need to get mad at yourself. You don't need to get upset. You just need to observe it, sit with it. That Two of Wands, Lionsgate, reassess, right? Let's just go over what's not working. Let's go over where we need to move forward. There's no reason to get super angry or depressed or down. This is always observation. Where am I? Okay, where is it that I'd like to go? How can I get there? All right. Crossing a threshold may not always be voluntary. Sometimes we are thrown across the boundary through circumstances far beyond our control. Either way, we cannot go back. And we're not going back. In Hindu mythology, Ganesh is the ultimate gatekeeper. Woo, there's that word again, gatekeeper. Look to the great elephant god for support. Hecate, Janus, and Minshin are also watching over you. So if you guys do altar work, even here we have Papa Legba, right? And he is also one of the keepers of the crossroads. And you can do a little, leave him a little bit of rum and a cigarette or some sort of tobacco and ask him to help you move through the crossroads. Same with Hecate. She works with keys, so you can leave keys on your altar. I haven't worked with Janice, Ganesh, like they said, Ganesh, I have little elephants. I do think it's because I went to Alabama, but it's also, we could say an homage to Ganesh as well. And so you can work with these different spirits and deities, be conscious of what you're saying, and be conscious that knowing that working with them, a lot of these spirits and deities do not ask for anything in return, right? It is the opposite of a lot of organized religions where we were always having to give and wait. A lot of these other, spirits, deities, angels, can't think of another word to call them, but if you were thinking them in your mind right now, start screaming at the computer, all those things. You can petition them and ask for their help, and they really don't want anything in return. Putting out rum and tobacco for Papa Legba. Like if you do that, he either helps you or he doesn't. You're not in someone's debt. Okay, it's nothing like that. So work with these things, but it also too, you can read up on these different religions, and also, right, that will help expand your idea about the world, right? Which would also go back to the Two of Wands, where you're kind of reassessing and seeing exactly what the world is all about. Okay, my babies, I'm gonna leave it there. Have a great Lionsgate, 888 this year for the Lionsgate. That's really powerful. Again, if you guys aren't feeling it this year, don't freak out. Don't freak out. It doesn't mean you're missing out on anything. It just means at this time right now, you aren't feeling it, right? In a couple days, you may. Okay, maybe next month. Now, maybe next month is your month where you're firing on all cylinders, right? Um, just take care of you, stay present. I just want you to know when I come on this with these messages, it's saying this energy is here and it's always here for you to tap into. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm going to leave it at that. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on my websites, Independent Street Tarot or Independent Street NOLA, either one.com, Seasons and Ritual, also on Instagram. And then I'll always you guys can leave comments below. So until then, stay cool, stay hydrated, and I will see you guys soon.